there's online payment system issues. You know, we have POS, point of sale machine, but these point of sale machines are a little bit expensive. It's like, I think, $200 or something. So kwa hawa wafanyabiashara wadogo, sisi wadogo, ni ngumu ku afford your machine. But I've seen in South Africa, there's something called Yoko. It's a very small device. Inauzwa kama $10, which is something like 20,000. Kwa wafanya biashara wote wadogo wadogo, because when we get the EFD's machine, ukiwa ni mfanya biashara bado unaanza, they give you some time, alafu ndo baadaye wanaanza kuchaji taxes. So we were supposed to get those devices. The reason I'm saying that is because last year there was a conference at JNICC. It was all African trade fair like this one, and a lot of people from different African countries came, and they don't know if some of us, Tanzania, we don't have a machine that they can tap and buy whatever they want to buy. You know, so they come to the booth and say, oh, I want to buy the Baron shoe, and I'm like, oh yeah, but you know, you have to pay in cash. So that's also a challenge, because if someone doesn't have a cash, then you won't be able to sell, and she or he won't be able to buy. So we really need to have those devices, probably not only in Tanzania, even other countries, they need that too. The cheap ones, it's called, in South Africa, as I said, I've seen something called Yoko, which is like $10 to $20, because the POS is too expensive for mtu wa biashara ndogo kuanza ku afford, you know, kununua hiyo machine ambayo inakuwa expensive kidogo. And another thing is there's lack of information, because 2021 I went to Durban for International African Trade Fair. I was the only Tanzanian displaying my goods there. There was no anyone from Tanzania except myself. And actually, I was coming from South Africa. That's why I got the information from South Africa. That's why I went to the conference. So why we don't have this information, it's because we don't have a proper platform for communication. Everybody's doing its own stuff. So this is not, we cannot call this a free trade, you know? If I'm in South Africa and a South African is telling me, oh, there's this conference for Africa in Durban, and then I'm just connecting a flight to go to Durban, but now I get to Durban and there's nobody from Tanzania. No. We really need proper communication for this African continent. We really need it. And other things is the challenges that we get on doing the business. The first thing is taxation. If I want to sell my goods to Ghana, Mozambique, there's too much tax. So at the end of the day, we end up selling things in our own countries. You know, if I'm in Tanzania, then I'll sell my goods in Tanzania. I cannot sell it in other African countries because of the taxes. The taxes are too high. And if you won't be able to pay on time, then obvious, there'll be a delay. And that person won't be able to get the goods that he or she wants on time. Yes. And another point is we Africans need to be really careful on our products. I'll give one example. It's a challenge now to know whether hii kitenge inatoka kweli Congo or it's from China. We really need to be careful with our products. I remember the carpets that we make here in Tanzania. It's called mkeka. Mkeka, it's a handmade carpet. Not only that, there's a Zanzibar door. You know, it's a handmade door. If we start making those fake stuff, at the end of the day, people are going to lose their job because they won't be able to. If I send my good to Nigeria, if they want mkeka now, and I send keka from, from China, then a Nigerian is not gonna order another mkeka from Tanzania anymore. And then what next? We're just gonna stay here with kekas, watu watakosa kazi, you know, let's say if someone, the Zanzibar door, alafu, tunaanza produce things from abroad na kumpelekea, then that person won't order the Zanzibar door anymore. And then what next? The artist will stay there, hawezi kuwa creative anymore. So when we say we open this door for African trade, we have to make sure we deliver the quality. And if something is really a handmade or made in Tanzania, it has to be made in Tanzania. Don't say something is made in Tanzania and then it's made in, I don't know, anywhere else, you know? So we really need to keep that. I call that role of origin. We really need to be careful with that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Jackie. And just to sum up that, there are things that you mentioned, procurement platform, like TANEPS that we have here, the online payment system, the POS. We have to work on that one also. Okay, there are also other things they call soft POS. It's for the SM. And lack of information, that as digital, we need to put up systems that can provide information easily. Instead of having an African conference in South Africa and here, and Africans are not presented, it's a challenge. And taxation, availability of information on the harmonization of tax, because we understand that the revenue authorities had a meeting in Ghana, and they harmonized some of the rates on that. That information has to be made available digitally. And there's property rights and proof of origin also has to be adhered to. There are systems for that also. You can put barcodes or QR codes on your products that can authenticate the origin. Digital can help on that one also. We are taking note of that for way forward and action. You're welcome, Midi.
Moderator, as you do that, but I just want to make a quick announcement and I'll give you this 1 minute that I'm spending. Okay. Hatutakuwa na tea break. Kwa hiyo naomba kama kuna mtu atajisikia kupata kikombe cha chai, it's served right behind this hall, kwa hapa juu. Just go outside kimya na tusiende kwa makundi ili tusidistract the ongoing powerful contributions. Utatoka tu moja, you save yourself, you can come in with your cup of coffee, okay? Kwa sababu tukimaliza hii tunaenda kwenye session ya mwisho. So if you want that quick break, you just step out, tembea nyuma ya huu ukuta, tea is served hapo. Hatutakuwa na tea break, tutaenda back to back. Over to you.
Thank you very much. It's been amazing being in Tanzania so far. I'm coming all the way from Nigeria, and the welcome has been very warm. I've met a lot of interesting people. Tanzanians are very nice and hospitable, and I just want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you. Asante sana. I learned that one today. Very quickly, my name is Olami Bosie Kuma, and I'm the director of Genesis Tech Hub back there in Nigeria. Now, what we do with Genesis is we train people, women and youth in particular, on the very much needed digital skills. I'm very excited that we're having this conversation today about digital skills and digital inclusion and how we can use that to promote entrepreneurship, promote trade across the continent and all of that. This is something I'm very excited about. I'm very passionate about too. Now, in Genesis, we train people on the much needed tech skills, that's for one. We also provide entrepreneurship, mentorship, and incubation, and acceleration, and funding, and all of that. So we basically handhold businesses to make sure that they become profitable. We connect them with the networks that they need. So she's mentioned something very important, and that's the fact that there are myriads of opportunities, but unfortunately, we in Africa, we're not taking advantage of them. For instance, I noticed that this African Businesswomen and Youth Trade Fair and Summit is happening all the way here in Tanzania. And I think I can count the number of Nigerians that are present. And I don't think that it's limited just to the Tanzanian market. This is supposed to be an opportunity for people across the continent to come and collaborate, find out what you're doing, find out what the other person is doing, find out possible areas of collaboration, partnerships, and all of that. But not to hug the mic for so long, I just want to talk a little bit about how I think that digital education in particular can solve 90% of our problems, because I noticed what happened here when we were trying to scan the QR code and take a poll, and she asked a question and she said, how many of us know that that feature exists on WhatsApp? And WhatsApp is one of the most commonly used platforms across the globe. And I can say that less than 20% of the people in this room were already aware of that feature in particular. And this is something that can take your business from level 1 to level 10, because it gives you the ability to collect real-time feedback from your customers. And imagine how that arms you. If you know exactly the pain point of your customers, you provide tailor-made solutions to that. Why wouldn't they come? So in our accelerator, something that we focus on is we try to tell entrepreneurs, do not just try to create something fancy that looks good or that fits into the buzz. Find an actual problem and solve it. Preferably a problem that 1,000 people are facing. Automatically, that gives you access to a market of 1,000 people. Now, I am just trying to buttress on the fact that she made, the points that she made, which is we need to understand and we need to be more aware of the opportunities that are out there, the tools that are available to us. Now, coming from a country like Nigeria, we don't rely very much on the government. I don't know how it is here in Tanzania. I think your government is doing really great, and I'm happy for you guys. But we preach more of personal responsibility, especially on the private sector and on the individuals. So we do not wait for the government to give us things. We go out and look for them. There are tons and tons of learning opportunities online at no cost. But I don't know why, we hardly take advantage of these opportunities. Now, I have an academic paper that has collated all of these opportunities, as many of them as you would like to take advantage of. So opportunities to learn and get certified in whatever digital skill that you're interested in, opportunities to access funding for your businesses. Europe, Asia, and all of these guys, they have grants that are always open. There are bodies like AfriLabs that is constantly giving. Okay, so last year, no, that was in 2021, Catalytic Africa was launched. How many people here know about Catalytic Africa? Okay, so what Catalytic Africa does is it partners with hubs and accelerators to find startups and promising businesses to invest in. So if a hub has, for instance, $1,000, Catalytic Africa matches it by a certain percentage, I'm not sure of the exact number, and gives money to that startup. So these are opportunities that are in existence, but we're not taking advantage of them, which when we come to the feedback session, I would like to get feedback from the audience. I want to know why that knowledge gap exists and how we can help bridge that gap. So going back to what we do in Nigeria, we have hubs. Do we have any hub representatives here in the hall today? Oh, your hub, wonderful. Do we have other ones? 2, 3, 4? Okay, that's a good number. So that means that you have access to hubs. What my hub does is we do the digital training for free. We don't charge anybody to come and learn. So we pick women, we pick youth, and we teach you how to write code, programming. We teach you how to do digital marketing, for instance. We teach you how to use tools. Apart from the incubation process that we do for your businesses, so after you've learned the skill and you want to apply it to your business, we support you. We open up our network to you. Let's say your network is probably really small and you don't have direct access to people that will want to invest in your business. Well, that's why we're here. So we know the big guns and we give you access to them. So we have gone out of our way to create opportunities like this for ourselves. And then because we're presenting a united front, we then go out and seek foreign investments, and then we tell them, look at what we're trying to create for the Nigerian people. Come and partner with us to empower more Nigerians, more Nigerian women, more Nigerian youth. And I dare to say, right, and I'm sure this is a popular saying that most of you have heard, if you empower a woman, you've empowered a whole village, because people will benefit from it. I'm not saying that the men are not empowering a whole village, but I'm sure you get the point. So I'm giving all of these instances so that when we open up the conversation, I prefer to answer real questions. So I would like to understand specifically the problems that exist and why people do not have access to this information. And then if there are hubs here, why aren't those hubs reaching the people that need to get the knowledge? How many people here are confident in digital marketing? So you sell your solutions on Instagram, Facebook, you have a website, for instance. Can I see with a show of hands? Oh, okay, a lot of us are doing well already, so we just need to have more people doing that. I'm out of time. I need to hand the mic over to someone else, but I'll be looking forward to your questions in due time. Thank you.
Sorry, my dear, you have 5 minutes, please, so that we can have the audience to engage with us.
Okay, my name is Maureen Molel. I'm a program coordinator for Westawelle Startup House in Arusha that is funded by Westwell Foundation from Berlin. And we do almost the same as Genesis Hub, exactly the same. I think the African Hub ecosystem does the same. Yeah. The only thing is some would even go to ventures and all that, but we do incubation, acceleration, and training of skills to startups. Yeah. And just to say, our mission at Westawelle is uplifting emerging markets through empowered entrepreneurship. Okay. So what we do, we have programs for youth and women mostly, and I'm glad and proud to say that from our programs that we've had, we have a 50.4% of women. So yeah, there are some programs that we have less women, but then we are glad that in general, through the programs we've had in the hub until today, 50.4% have been women. And I'm glad also to say the ecosystem of hubs in Tanzania is mostly in Dar, where you have the Dar es Salaam Silicon Valley and all that. Yes, there's a lot of hubs there. But at Wesher, I think we are 1 or 2 hubs here, and we are kind of a lighthouse hub here. And yes, so I don't know if this is going to be a Gen Z point of answers, but yeah. So part of the questions that we had, and I had a lot to share about, but what I was passionate about more is how can women and youth continuously build their skills to leverage in digital trade. So I think we have to come to agree that the African culture itself, it creates a way that women lose confidence in themselves. We are not allowed to speak. I'm a Tanzanian, I'm a Maasai. I've grown up, I've seen, when my grandmother voices herself out, everyone is like, who are you to talk? Who are you to make a decision here? So how do we expect these women to go to digital platforms like AfCFTA and make decisions about their businesses? How do we expect them to be able to negotiate? How do we expect them to grow and maybe speak of their mind with countries like Nigeria that they have been taught to voice out, to speak, to stand for themselves? We have women in the country, and most women across Africa, that they have multiple responsibilities. I've worked with Hub, this is my second Hub, And the last time I worked with, we were trying to come up with programs around women. We did a research around female entrepreneurs because the number of female founders in these places was too low. And you'd find it's not because there are no programs. The timetable. If my mom calls, I am 25, 26. My mom calls, my auntie's baby, whatever is sick. I have to drop everything and go to my auntie and help because my auntie is at work. So how do I make time to be in these programs, to learn these skills? How? So one of the things I'm trying to champion, or we are trying to do, is to create hybrid programs for women that they will be able to learn from where they are. But here comes the challenge. We are coming from a marginalized community. Let's speak of women that don't have access to smartphones. Or smartphones they are using, they are not iPhone or Samsung S21 Ultra. It's Techno. You have to delete WhatsApp to be able to download Facebook. How do we expect them to have platforms like AfCFTA or website visits? Phones are expensive. Internet is expensive. So we are talking about digitalization, but resources. Resources within the country. Let's talk about payments, levies. These days, as of 2022 September, the government had said they had redone their levies, that if you are doing transaction between 30,000 Tanzanian shillings, then you won't have deduction. But as a small entrepreneur, someone is paying me 100K. 20K is going on this deduction if I'm moving it from bank to M&M, mobile money. How do you expect me to count my profits? If I'm importing, or let's say I am importing something, I'm making skincare products here, but I need a certain kind of ingredient from outside. Tax is 50% the product I buy. So how do you expect me to come up with prices that would match customers? This is actually what is pushing more customers to pick out China products, because then it's cheaper. It's cheaper than us, because importation of any produce we need to make sure we fix with our own internal materials is quite expensive. We are talking about digitalization. We train youth on digital freelancing. And here we are, we train them to go to platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, and all that. PayPal does not accept payment in Tanzania. This youth has to have a Safaricom line in Kenya. So the PayPal pays in Kenya, the Kenya person sends to M-Pesa, Tanzania, today, at this age.
That's a problem.
And we expect that we would create employment on digital platforms. So I think there's a lot to be done on ground. If the resources are not there, people we are targeting cannot even afford such kind of tools, gadgets. Why don't we have community computer labs, community computer cafes, where I go, Vodacom, whoever, Tigo, corporates have funded, they provide free unlimited internet. We have government providing computers. I go there, I work for 2-3 hours, I pay 2,000-3,000. I promote my business. The next day I go and check how many orders did I have and all that, because I can't afford to have these tools. I can't afford to have these gadgets. So I think there's a lot to be done from policies, resources, skills, but as well, I'm glad of this platform, because when we have women like you speaking of the business you've been doing, then it inspires other females to do so. So we need to create more visibility. Let's talk about women who have traded from AfCFTA. What have they gained? So at least these women, when they speak and share their stories, other small entrepreneurs want to learn, and they would be inspired to know more about these things. I just said of AfCFTA this year. But then, and that's because we are partnering with EABC to promote the program to some of our startups and entrepreneurs. But if you had asked me in January, I don't know anything about.
Of course.
You know, so how do we pass information? I want to challenge the government and institution. We say we have products for entrepreneurs, banks. I will challenge them today. You have products for female entrepreneurs. And then you want them to sign up first before you empower them. Why don't you empower them throughout, and then when they've grown their businesses, they've made money, they come and invest or open accounts? I feel it's weird, but we need to be realistic on the way we want to support these people, especially marginalized community, understanding the level of education, the resources that we have, and everything that is going on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. I'm going to take 3 questions. Please help me. One here.
When the headmaster is asking a question.
Thank you very much. Generally, it was very exciting to sit here and listen to very innovative and dynamic young women with such a brilliant ideas. So mine is not a question. Mine is that is the issue of collaboration, partnership, information sharing. I think this is what is lacking. How do we work together? I appreciated the CEO Mama Mia Soko. EABC has what we call My Soko, My eSoko. And that platform was designed purposely to support women and youth in business. But I think there are very few people who knows about that platform. So I think what we need to do as a recommendation, and I'm going to champion that, is that let's sit together and see how really we can make a change in terms of sharing such a kind of information. Yeah. But my view is that we have no any other option. We have to go digital. We have to go digital. The 4th industrial revolution doesn't require that you have to have a master's or undergraduate in information technology, but you need these basic skills to do business. Yeah. There is no shortcut. We have to adopt. Yeah. We need to embrace the digital revolution. We need to embrace e-commerce. That is the way. That is our comparative advantage. Yeah. I know there are issues related to infrastructure. My sister Ebre mentioned about charges. We can advocate for that across the ESC. We can ensure that the internet is affordable. We can ensure the taxes are reduced. And really we've been pushing that the taxes on internet should be reduced or should be removed. Yeah. Where I come from in Rwanda, they have completely, I use a $20 internet for a family of 6 for a whole month. This can be done with a strong advocacy. And we commit ourselves that internet should be the way, yes. Should be a necessity. Some countries are still treating it as something for rich people. No. But internet is an enabler for the youth and women. We need to join hands and advocate for that the cost, the VAT imposed on the internet should be removed. Here, I use $10 per day on Airtel, just 10 gigabytes. And I sympathize those young men and women, because it eats up all your profit. So we need to join efforts and really advocate for removal of those charges, detrimental taxes, if we want to make our continent flourish, our youth and women do business. Those costs need to be removed. And I commit, I'll join your voice, your effort to ensure that we advocate for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So the 2 questions, and this will be for this plenary before we go on to the next one. Nitasoma kama ilivyoandikwa. African Business Women and Youth kupitia Tradefair na Summit 2nd edition. Tunawezaje kuhakikisha kuwa hii elimu ya digital business inaundwa na kutumika kama njia zinazojumuisha na kuwezesha wanawake / mabinti, hasa wale wanaotoka katika jamii zilizotengwa au kusahaulika? Hili swali limetoka kwa Mheshimiwa Beatrice, diwani viti maalum jiji la Dar es Salaam. Swali la pili, did you understand the question? No. Dada wa Arusha atalijibu. Okay. Swali la pili, je, viongozi wanawake wanaweza kuchukua jukumu gani katika kuendeleza uvumbuzi na mabadiliko katika tasnia ya teknolojia, na ni hatua gani wanaweza kuchukua ili kukuza usawa wa kijinsia? Je, viongozi wanawake wanaweza kuchukua jukumu gani? What role can women leaders take in order to promote discovery and changes in the technology sector, and what steps can they take in order to grow equity, in order to grow gender equity? Swali limeulizwa na Neema Mgombela, mwenyekiti UWT wilaya ya Ukerewe mkoani Mwanza. Nadhani mnaweza, you can respond to those two questions and then we can wrap up.
Yeah, you can start with the first one, and Jackie, you can. Jackie, you can take the second.
Okay. I think, Chakwanza, one thing I would insist is I believe that we are the change. Change begins with you. Like, there is no way you would want to expect change to come from someone else. It's true we would raise our voices, and it's true we would raise our voices and champion for these things by speaking. But if initially you don't have the drive to want to see the change, then it's not going to be of any importance. So one thing I would like to answer to that question is, at least if you are an member of parliament and you're looking to how you could help, then be the change from the community you're coming from. Go, look for donation from government, install computers in those schools, look for skills online, let the children learn. Ule mda wa rede, whatever, divide it as they are learning the government curriculum, which I don't know when it's going to change. Let them also learn skills, visual content creation, software development, digital marketing, email writing. We have people that are finishing masters, they're employed, they can't even write emails. So that is one of the things you can do. Champion this. There are organizations like Kamara Education, they work in donating soft tools, gadgets, computers to schools, secondary government schools. So I think that would be the first step. Let your jimbo lako liwe la kwanza. Kutoa watu wa aina hii. There's a lot of jobs. There's a lot of jobs for youth online. That would be the first step, because if I manage someone's social media today, they grow their business through social media, or I help them create blog posts, blog content and website. When I am ready to run my businesses, I am experienced enough to even promote about these things. And also another thing is then champion for this in the parliament. I'm not sure the last time I listened to the parliament, for real. But then again, I think it's high time we stop discussions that are not really necessary in the parliament. Let's start talking about things that matters. You know, I don't think there is anyone, and I think most Tanzanians don't listen to the parliament anymore because, again, what is there for me? It's just about arguments and all that, and then nothing is actually done. Let's bring these topics. Let's talk about marginalized community. Let's achana na corporates and all that about saving capitalism, where people have to sit on tables and make decisions of how they should change the regulation and policies so that the product prices can favor them. No, let's come back to the community itself. 75% of Tanzanians are employed by agriculture. Yeah. How do we use digital skills to train youth to engage in this? How do they learn about irrigation at this point in time? How do we use digital to expose them to countries that are already so far ahead of us in such things like agriculture? Sure. You know, how do we teach our youth to become youth included through digital platforms? Again, a lot of us are on Twitter, Instagram, and the nonsense we are talking on Twitter as youth. I'm sorry for my fellow youth today. But then how do we leverage on these platforms to create opportunities for them? So I think it can start with you, and I would love to hear that story one day.
Just a moment. I want to add up on that. With the company, Mama Mia Soko, to show the partnerships that you are talking about, we have partnered with Sovereign Payment Solutions Mauritius, which has branches in Ghana, subsidiaries of Payment Solutions, in Ghana, Tanzania, Botswana, Zambia, South Africa, Uganda, Zimbabwe, And we have lots of young people, youth, who we took them from, fresh from universities, and they're being trained to work on digital solutions. I showed someone that we were working on something with the political party here. It was created in a week. We train these youngsters. They come up with real good solutions. We fly them across countries to deploy those solutions. And I'm a general manager of Sovereign Payment Solutions Tanzania. I had the company here, and I championed the implementation of technology. We have a training room, a training facility in our office that can accommodate online and offline classes. So for anyone, any leader who inspires to bring changes into their society when it comes to technology and marketing, we have those departments in the office, and we can offer that, and you can see actual results where people can generate income, passive income, simply by referring people to businesses. I don't have to have a business, but I know someone who does. And if I refer them to their products and services, I earn an income. There is a way that we can eliminate poverty and create jobs through the platform that we have created, and we are open to work with leaders to implement that in your constituents. You're welcome.
Okay, so just to add a little bit to what you've said, because I think you answered the question about how leaders can get involved. And it's very simple and practical. Look for people that are solving a problem and empower them to solve more problems. So her company is handling, let's just give an arbitrary number of 10 people, and you have the capacity to help her reach 50 people. Start from there. It's a very practical next step. And then another thing that I've noticed with leaders is that they have access to a richer pool of people. So for instance, you have access to the head of a corporate organization. Demand from those corporate organizations to have a budget for corporate social responsibility. So demand that every organization that is making money inside of Tanzania should have a percentage of their income channeled into developing the people of Tanzania. So if you mentioned Vodafone, if Vodafone channels 10 million Tanzanian shillings to training 1,000 people every year, imagine how far that is going to go in 5 years. That is 5,000 people. You bring out 5,000 people, train them, and put them back into the economy. 5,000 can train you another 5,000, and it keeps growing. And before you know what is happening, everybody has been touched. So these are very, very practical steps that can be taken. Go and look for, and then Vodafone can partner with a bank, for instance. It could be in terms of funding. It could be in terms of absorbing the talents that have been trained. So after training them, it's not enough to train people on how to do something. They need to have an opportunity to be able to implement that thing that they have learned. So let these companies absorb these people. These are very, very practical steps. And I don't like, because of the uniqueness of the African ecosystem, I do not like for us to think very grand. Let us look back and let's look inwards and think of immediate steps. It might look like an insurmountable problem, but if we sit down within ourselves and say, this is the one thing that I'm going to do, you're doing one thing, you're doing one thing, you're doing one thing, all of us start doing one thing. Before you know what's happening, it starts growing exponentially. So beyond waiting for, I keep saying this, I do not wait for the government. Partner with organizations, demand from organizations to do what they're supposed to do. They're making money from the country, they should give back to the country. It's mandatory. Thank you.
Thank you so much. On partnerships, we have something we call CUG, closed user groups, and we partnered with Vodacom. We are business partners with Vodacom, where we provide free smartphones from our packages, and then you can enroll into their monthly subscription. You can still get the bundles and the internet connectivity through that, but within the network of Mama Mia Soko, you can talk for free. that is something that is also very valuable in the market and through partnerships. So we can increase the number of partners that we have through the MNOs, through the insurance companies in each country that we get into. And we can integrate all the platforms with Mama Mia Soko and offer the solutions instantly in any country that we can get in. Thank you so much. I appreciate. Thank you for your participation.
A bigger round of applause to the moderator and the team. Naomba tuwapigie makofi mengi jamani, makofi. Niwakumbushe kitu kimoja. Ulimwengu mzima popote as you're taking your seats.
Sorry.
Oh, you still wear?
Jackie would like to close. Thank you.
Jackie is about to pray for us.
Yes.
I hope you're closing with a prayer, but we still have one more session, Jackie.
I have only one thing to say. Africa, let's wake up. We cannot meet every time and sit and talk about the same thing every day. We need to take action. Remember, the future belongs to those who are prepared for it. Thank you.
Asante sana. Bahati nzuri Prophet Rolinga ameenda kupumzika kidogo na I'm sure angetafuta msaidizi angekupa nafasi. Naomba tuwapigie makofi as they come down. Asante sana kwako Doris Male. Nashukuru sana lakini kwako
very great discussions, and thank you very much for everyone who has been here all this time, because it has been a very, very long day, and it's really impressive when you see elders and big leaders being here with us the entire day. So without wasting much time, my name is Faraj Hassan Emily. I represent a couple of organizations, but I'm also the country champion for Independent Continental Youth Advisory Council on African Free Trade for Tanzania. So to go direct on our discussion, so the Youth Roundtable, it has meant to bring youth together to discuss different issues related to youth on the matters of AfCFTA protocol. And to make a little bit of introduction, I want to say that it has been tricky for most of youth, both in Tanzania and outside of Tanzania, understanding how AfCFTA works. I think there's a lot of efforts that have been put to make sure that young people really understand and see how they can leverage on the opportunities of AfCFTA, but it has been a tricky and challenging for them to really know how they can tap into this opportunity. So before moving forward, I would like to take this chance to welcome my brother, Mr. Moses, to give us a little bit of introduction, and then we can dive in. And on his introduction, I think I'll give you straight the question that what has EABC or ULIT done to build capacities for youth and women SMEs to contribute and understand the protocol? You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, my fellow speakers or panelists. My name is Moses Kanyesije, and I head SMEs, Youth and Women at East African Business Council. And I'm happy that my work has been made easy because the previous discussions were about CFTA. But let's talk about the protocol on youth and women, CFTA protocol on youth and women. It has been on consultation level. Consultation level, we don't have a protocol, we have a draft. So we have been having a consultation on what should a protocol on youth and women look like. What should be chapters? What are those voices of women and youth? What type of voices are those that should form a protocol? And this one has been made because of recommendations from many youth-led organizations, which also reached the heads of state. And the heads of state instructed the African Union Commission headquarters to have a separate protocol on youth and women. Because the challenges of youth and women are unique. They are not the same as the challenges of the private sector players. Actually, when I was still heading youth in business at UREAD, we had advocated for a separate protocol, to have one on women and to have one on youth. Because I think women have been given a lot of attention. They have achieved something, but youth have been neglected. That's why they say, okay, they said if we address the issues of youth, meaning the issues of women, if we address the issue of women, the issues of youth also addressed. But we will still fight so that at least we can have a big section of youth. Now, what has UREAD and EABC been doing? I'll be very, I will summarize. One, we started with a report, a study, making CFTA a reality for youth and women. And we started the consultation that was in 2020. When they started negotiating the protocol on goods and services, and they came with this youth and women, we said, but are they aware? Are these women and youth aware about the protocol? So we started the consultation. And on the first phase, we discovered that only 10% of youth and women have heard about CFTA on television, newspapers, politicians, but they don't know what it means. Then we discovered that there is an information gap. Then we discovered access to capital. Then we discovered there lacked institutions where youth can interact with government. Then we asked them, when they were negotiating the protocol on youth and services, were you consulted as a big stakeholder? They said no. Do you know your chief negotiator? No. So that's why EABC and other institutions like UREAD started address the information gap. One, started bootcamp trainings. Bootcamp trainings on CFTA. We started one in November 2021. We had another one in June in Kigali with UNDP, and we had the last one last December. And when we had boot camp, the champions formed what we call Ikoyaka. The outcome of the boot camp was Ikoyaka, where he's a champion for Tanzania. I think you should clap for him and clap for that. So we wanted to address the issue of institutions, on how government institutions can work with youth. Then we said we can have Ikoyaka. And I'm happy that we have almost 40-something champions in the whole of Africa. Now we started SMEs training, women and youth trainings on CFTA. Last month we were in Kigali training about SMEs on CFTA. My colleague Adrian talked, they have been training private sector on CFTA. So that's what we have been doing and disseminating information. Now what we have started that we need your support, we have started Twitter Space. Twitter Spaces where we bring the players and where information can be disseminated. Last Thursday we had a Twitter Space where we had a honorable member and a big person from UNDP. This next week, we are likely to have a Twitter space on creative arts. How can creative artists also benefit from CFTA? Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you very much. I think that was well explained. So just in short, I'll just clarify a little bit in Swahili so that for those who could not understand properly. So kuna harakati mbalimbali ambazo zimekuwa zikifanywa katika kuhakikisha kwamba vijana wanaelewa kuhusiana na masuala ya soko huru. Na initiative mbalimbali ambazo zimetengenezwa, kuna research zilifanyika kuweza kuelewa kama vijana wanaelewa kuhusiana na soko huru. na taarifa ambayo ilikuwa inaumiza ni kwamba ilikutikana kwamba 10% pekee ya vijana walikuwa wanajua au wamesikia kuhusiana na soko huru, lakini pia hawakuwa wanaelewa inahusu nini. Kwa hiyo tunaona kwamba challenge ni kubwa sana na kuna mingi sana ambayo yanakosekana, lakini pia kumekuwa na gepu mbalimbali ambazo zinatokea, ikiwepo pamoja na swala zima la mitaji, kupata funds za kuendesha biashara zao, lakini kuwepo na institutions ambazo zinawasaidia vijana kuhakikisha kwamba taarifa au wanaweza kujifunza kuhusiana na masuala ya soko huru. Lakini pia akaongezea kwamba wameweza kufanikisha kufanya consultation ambayo nadhani mojawapo matokeo yake ni mimi kama champion wa Tanzania kwenye masuala ya Independent Continental Youth Advisory Council katika kusaidia vijana kuweza kuelewa soko huru ni nini, linahusiana na nini na vijana wanaweza collaborate vipi kwenye opportunity hizo. Kabla hatujaweza kuendelea, I would like to take this chance to welcome Mr. Godfrey Julius, of which we have been together many times in conferences like this, and I think it would be great to hear from you as youth. You are the CEO of an organization, and you specifically focus on education, supporting young people in that area. We all know that our education system is quite challenging, and we always say it does not prepare youth to focus and deal with the issues of business. So as a person who has an institution, or let's say an organization that supports in that area, connecting to what my brother Moses said, how are you making sure that youth are leveraging on protocols of AfCFTA?
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, I would like to introduce the organization that Mr. Moderator, some of us maybe they do not know what exactly AfCFTA stands for. AfCFTA stands for Institution of Competitive Education and Social Accountability in Africa. We are based here in Arusha. And since we started this movement on 2018, we have now reached around 5,000 young people across Africa on emphasizing accountability for young people. I have heard our sister right here from Nigeria, she had said that they are not relying on depending their government in Nigeria. They are emphasizing themselves to be able to contribute something on their communities. And for your question, we saw that gap, in particular in Tanzania and East Africa Traj, that after leading the policies of East Africa, the policy of Tanzania, our government, the policy of Tanzania in particular for young people, but also the policy of AU, Africa Union. And now that the Africa Union, on the inspiration of Article 6, that there was emphasizing on creating AfCFTA. Before creating this AfCFTA, I want to remind you that this is the one of the AU 2063 agenda target that on the Africa we want. Now, what we are actually doing is to make sure that we need to create digital skills, but also not on digital skills, but also try to come up with the solutions on how young people can be able to tap the opportunities from the grassroots level, how we can be able to emphasize, involving the mentors. For instance, if we want to go, if we want to go far and becoming the championing of African opportunities, therefore we need to understanding what exactly we are trying to rebuild in Africa. And if we are trying to rebuild in Africa, we need to start on the foundation of education. The foundation of education, not about talking about curriculum that we have been working with, been trained for that curriculums, but we need to understand exactly the situation that we have, the words that have been changed already. Now we need to make sure that encouraging young people, but also coming up with solutions, curriculum solutions that can be able to tap or to touch the needs of young people. For instance, at ICASE Africa, we have short training courses where young people can be able to understand what exactly he or she wants to unlock himself or herself. Before we are emphasizing this, we need to understand the needs of young people. We need to understand the needs of young people and how we can be able to build their inner desire, how we can be able to rebuild their inner things, but also how we can be able to support, because most of young people have been trying to establish their own business, their own initiatives, but mostly they're afraid. They have dumped the ideas because they have that lack of mentorship, lack of entrepreneurship movement, because the entrepreneurship is the process. We need to be engaged with the other giant entrepreneurs. We need to be engaged with the government officials, because also, government officials, they're always, they are there to write the proposal, what we call the policies, but they're not there to, to tell young people that we have the man on the table. Mostly, they write the policies and they share to the website, the government of website or whatever. But our role is to how we can be able to turn up those policies into tangible things. Now, for Tanzania, at least we can see that movement. And East Africa Tribe, Mr. Moses right there, he had been working so much on emphasizing young people to be able to involve in business movements, in particular for EAC and the Africa Tribe. And we, as a championing, we have been partnering together on emphasizing these movements. Now, to end up, I would like to say that Africa, we still have a long way to go. But we need you. Tunawahitaji nyie sana, wamama zetu, dada zetu, watu ambao mko kwenye biashara tayari. Tunajua pengine miongoni mwenu pengine hatujaenda shule na kadhalika, lakini kuna vitu ambavyo mnavijua. We need to learn from you. Sometimes we need also to be mentored from you. Wengine wanahitaji kuingia kwenye siasa, lakini siasa zipi ambazo pengine tunahitaji kuzifanya, particularly starting from young people, where we need to understand the leadership foundation on issue of integrity, issue of accountability, issue of responsibility, and all those stuffs. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Brother Godfrey. That was really good. And I think my takeaway from your conversation was specifically on the Article 6, making sure that Africa is succeeding through its agenda, but at the same time, on the issue of mentoring and entrepreneurship skills. So going to my next speaker, Miss Ola, my good friend. I remember we met in Zambia, meeting all the hubs in Africa during the AfriLabs. And in realistic is that among the hubs, or let's say among the countries that are really doing well in terms of funding and all that, is Nigeria, as well as Kenya, Egypt, and South Africa. But good enough in the ecosystem right now, countries like Tanzania, Ghana, Uganda, Morocco, and Tunisia, they're coming up as well. Sure. Now, talking about the issue of mentorship, skills, and all that, we came to realize, my brother Godfrey has just said that we have to look and tap into what youth really wants. Yeah. And we're trying to push youth to go into agriculture. We're trying to push youth to go into starting their own business and all that. But we have this one big challenge of funding. Yeah. That's number one. Yeah. Number two, we have the issue of skills. Yeah. Number three, we have the issue of mentorship. And number four, I would say specifically for my country, is the willingness to really take opportunities and act upon them. Yeah. And Nigeria is one of the giants that are really doing good in terms of startups and getting funds and all that. What do you think youth within other countries in Africa can really learn from how Nigeria is doing so that we can be able to beat you up and do better? Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for bringing me all the way from Nigeria. It's lovely to be here, like I said before. And it's very simple for us. One thing, Nigerians are hungry. Nigerians are hungry to learn. Nigerians are hungry to change their situations. I don't know how many of you followed the recent election proceedings in Nigeria and how the Nigerian youth carried it on their shoulders. I mean, things haven't exactly worked out as we had planned, but you could see the level of participation. And that participation came from a place of being tired of the way things are and being sick of having someone tell you that you can't do this thing anymore. And, you know, we basically are daring. And that's something that I would like for the Tanzanian youth and all of the youth across Africa to try to embody. It's the fact Nigerians keep pushing. We are very resilient. You knock us down, we get up, we go again. You knock us down again, we get up again. That is the biggest hallmark of the average Nigerian youth. Now, the startup ecosystem is tough. It's tough because you're coming into a space and you're trying to battle with a lot of things. You're battling with discouraging government policies, right? You're battling with the fact that there is an absence of infrastructure to support you. You're battling with the fact that you don't even have the money to do this thing that you're trying to do. You're battling with the fact that, okay, so you've seen someone that can be a mentor, but they probably don't want to talk to you, right? So you, as an African youth, need that inner drive and persistence. I mentioned before that I run a hub, and I know how many times entrepreneurs keep badging my door and they're like, come and fund us. So come and tell us what to do. And then sometimes you tell them, you're not ready for funding. And they're like, okay, so what exactly do I, they never take no for an answer. And that's something that I would like to encourage the, average African youth to embody. That resilience, that ability to push, that hunger for information. You tell us that we don't know it, that's okay. We're going to go and look for where to find out. And we keep doing that. And you see how it is transforming our ecosystem. Nigerian startup raised a lot of money between 2020 and 2022. Several startups in Nigeria kept on raising money. You're hearing that Piggyvest has raised how many $1,000s. You're hearing that these other guys have raised how many $1 million. And it just keeps going on and on. And that is not happening because anybody is coming to look for them and give them these things. It's because they keep knocking at those doors. They tell you no, you go back tomorrow. You're like, okay, so you said I didn't have this. I've gone to put it. Can you talk to me now? So that's something we might want to embody. And I'm just going to summarize with an example of one of our most successful startup unicorns, Their Greenage Technology. And we met 4 young men who just graduated from the University of Nigeria. And they were manufacturing solar inverters in their backyard, And these guys had a lot of promise. Where part of what we do is we have an annual convergence where we bring startups and then we give them, to some people we've given $10,000, to some people we've given $15,000. So we go out of our way, we raise this money, and then we come back to support businesses. Now, when we met Greenage, they were young-looking men, and they're building solar systems, like solar inverters. And everything that they use is locally manufactured, not even in Lagos. Lagos is the capital of Nigeria. Is one of the business districts in Nigeria. Abuja is the capital. But they're not in Lagos, they're not in Abuja, they're in Enugu. Enugu is a very small city, right? So part of the problems they were having was that nobody wanted to take a chance on them. So you have a luxurious apartment that you probably spent millions building, and then you see small boys, they tell you they want to wire your house. What if they burn your house or something? So people were not willing to take a chance on them. And we gave them 2 things. And those 2 things have transformed the business landscape for those young men, right? We first of all gave them $15,000. And the reason we gave them the $15,000 was simple. You're doing a lot of things manually, but we want you to use this money and automate your processes. By automating your processes, your production is faster, you reduce your costs, so because you don't need a lot of people, the machines are doing that. The efficiency too is higher, so little chances for mistakes and errors and all of that. So that's one side of the problem, but that wasn't enough. We took these men by the hand, and then we went to partner institutions and we said, these are our guys. Allow them to deploy inverters for you. We took them to institutions like the University of Nigeria. We took them to Akwa Ibom. We took them to major schools. We also took them to big men in the industry. And we said, allow them wire your house. They are our partners. And I can tell you for free, the next time Greenwich Technologies went to talk to another customer, they said, I have wired UNN. I want to wire your house. It gave them something like a success story to leverage on. So these are things that we do for ourselves. And I want to challenge everybody here. First of all, be resilient. Don't take no for an answer. It's okay not to know. It's okay to have quirks in your businesses, but when you get that feedback, go back, implement the feedback, and come back. Keep on knocking on those doors until they eventually open up to you. And then secondly, support one another. It doesn't have to be money. It could be an introduction. It could be, people support each other. There's this lady, Ada from Enugu, from Anambra, another very minority state in Nigeria, that carried a delegation of young ladies from Anambra to Silicon Valley. Those are the kind of opportunities that we create for ourselves because, we can't keep waiting. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ola. That was really, really amazing. By the way, we have a guy who is planning to have something called Waga City in Tanzania. This guy is Tanzanian and he has made it to the second position global in the competition called Climate Challenge. I was a judge for Tanzania and Africa, and then he made it to global, and he became the second. So these are some of the examples that we can give from Tanzania as well for those people who are doing really great. And that being said, I wish to explain this in Swahili so that it can be a little bit clear. Tuna mama zetu wengi sana wanafanya production ya vitu manyumbani. Masabuni, vinywaji, na vitu mbalimbali. Mfano aliotolea dada Ola hapa, ndio vile vitu ambavyo vijana wengi wameamua kutoka nje na kuvifanyia kazi. Tukitoka nje tutakutana na wajasiriamali wengi sana ambao wana production wazozifanya nyumbani, kilichobaki ni kwenda tu TBS ziweze kupitishwa. Alichokizungumzia ni kwamba tofauti tulionayo mpaka nikapata ile excitement ya kumleta aweze kushare na sisi experience ni kwamba sisi tunafanya production na tunatulia. Wenzetu wanafanya production kwa hasira kiasi cha kwamba wanafika mbali. Ukimuuliza huyu kijana wetu anayetaka kuanzisha Waga City, alichokifanya alikuwa anakusanya zile batteries zilizoharibika. Anazitengeneza, ana refurbish, anatengeneza upya. Amefanya hilo jambo kwa muda mrefu sana, to next end amefika level ya kwenda kutuwakilisha kimataifa. Je, vijana wetu, mama zetu, tukiamua kufanya hicho kitu tukapata support, tutafika kwa mbali gani? Kwa nadhani ifike stage tuache kufikiria padogo kwa ajili ya kwenda pakubwa zaidi. Na ndio maana tunakuwa tuna watu ambao wanashare na sisi ni kitu gani ambacho kinahitajika. Lakini pia kitu ambacho ni muhimu sana, hatuwezi tukaenda kushindana katika masoko ya soko huru kama hatuko tayari kucompete na hao watu. Nadhani Tawen imetoa opportunity kwa kuwakutanisha kwa ajili ya kuweza kujifunza wengine wanafanya nini na tushindane kwa staili gani. Tumeona kuna clothes from Nigeria zimekuja na nikawa na challenge kidogo. Unaangalia nguo za Kitanzania ambazo zimetengenezwa kwa batiki na za wa Nigeria. Ukiangalia unajiuliza tofauti ni ipi? Kuna watu wanakuambia style, lakini ukiangalia kuna mtu atakwambia style, kuna mtu atakwambia labda mshono ulivokaa, kuna mtu atakwambia zile decorations na vitu kama hivyo. Je, tuko tayari kwenda kucompete katika hili soko huru? Nadhani hilo ni swali ambalo naliacha afu tutaweza kuwarudia. So thank you very much, Ola. I'm coming to my brother, Mr. Pascal. You are working with Azania as a relations manager, sorry. We see that there have been a lot of supports getting from the banks. Lakini a lot of young people are really facing challenges and they really need support. I'll come back to Brother Moses because I want his action step towards this. So it's an area of concentration. A lot of young people want to do business across our countries, but then lacking a lot of funds. as a bank, how are you ensuring or you're supporting to facilitate the implementation of opportunities by young people within this AfCFTA protocol?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Good evening, everyone. Actually, I will just use a few minutes, at least, to put across what Tanzania Bank is all about before I come straight to your question. Tanzania Bank ni benki ya serikali. It's typical Tanzanian bank. We normally say it's a first indigenous private bank. Ni benki ya serikali kupitia mifuko ya hifadhi ya jamii. Na we have these shareholders. Mwanahisa mkubwa ni PSSF mwene almost 52%, kifuatiwa na NCCF mwene 28. 52 plus 28 is almost 80% of the shareholders within a bank. Then we come to NHIF, also has 17% of the shares, so it's almost 97. And 3% only shared between EADB, South African Development Bank, together with WCF. This is Workers' Compensation Fund, and minority shareholders. They share that 3% of the remaining. So basically, that is, in a nutshell, what is Tanzania Bank. So, coming to the question put across, the big issue actually, and I need to share only two products in relation to the question asked. Tanzania Bank, tujawasahau vijana, should say that. Tanzania Bank, tuko na vijana, tuko na kina mama, tuko na all those privileged groups. Na kwa vijana hapa tuna those youth ambao wako still vioni, lakini pia kuna wale ambao tayari wameshatoka, they are doing something. So we are having special accounts. One, it's Jikwamue. So Jikwamue account is one of the product kwa ajili ya vijana kuweza kupata this tunasema funding, loans unsecured. Nimesikia kwenye presentations za awali kwamba watu wengi wanafikiria kuhusu collateral and all that, which is true. Ziko such kind of loans zenye those requirements, but Tanzania Bank tunamwangalia kijana kwa jicho la kumwezesha katika hilo eneo la funding. Kwa tunatoa mikopo ambayo ni unsecured. They need to be in groups. They need to organize themselves. They need to have a business plan on it. We need to see and be assured of what they are planning to do. As Tanzania Bank, we are there to support them through that Jikwamue account. It has features that are favorable to youth. It has features that are favorable to youth together with the women also. But also kwa hawa ambao wako mavioni na shuleni, we also have aspired account. Normally as Tanzania Bank tunasema someone's actually a saving habit, it's actually a challenge in each and every one of us. It's a challenge to most of youth actually, saving habit. So through Aspire account, we impact the skills and knowledge of how they can save while they are still in mavioni na shuleni. Some of we normally even give up gift kwa wale walio shuleni pale ambapo ameweza kurecord. Tunatoa tunasema vijalida wakati mwanafunzi ana withdraw and hela zake na yule ambaye ana keep hela zake kwa muda fulani tunatoa interest to those account, lakini pia kwa yule ambaye ana keep hiyo saving habit at the end of the year tunatoa gift kwa wanafunzi wa sekondari na kadhalika. Kwa hiyo Tanzania Bank inafanya hivyo, lakini apart from that we are also offering what we call viwanda scheme. Hii ni product mahususi kwa wajasiriamali, all those entrepreneurs, product very specific to them. It has a special rate kwa wale ambao wanafanya kitu. We are believing mjasiriamali employ others, so we are actually sharing with them. What we do, tunatoa mikopo ambayo ina riba nafuu, and this has been this fund special has been injected by one of our shareholders, which is NSSF. So we are supporting, and we are having portfolio on the table for those who are already benefiting on those products. One of my concern, actually, I need to put across, we know there is a lot of challenges, and na haitakuwa nzuri kama tutaendelea kukaa kwenye hizo challenges. What I'm actually excited and motivated by one of our friends in Nigeria. They said they have to do something, they have to push, you know. So what I'm trying to say, even on the issue of funding, vijana, kina mama, we need to see a way out on funding. We need to make it happen in our available resources together with the environment we are having too. You know, we need to succeed. And when it comes to innovative, ujasiriamali, investment and all that, we need to engage in financial institutions. We cannot, hatuwezi tukakaa mbali, you know, hatuwezi tukakaa mbali na financial institution. We need money. Financial institution, they have money. You need to see the favorable terms that will be suitable for you to be involved and engaged, so that you may be in a position of having the available funds. So the good thing is we don't need to stop. I know there's the challenges, and there's all those challenges you come across, lakini still kuna watu wanafaidika. So you need to see it and come across, tunaweza tukafika mahali. Asante sana, Mr.
Thank you very much, Brother Pasco. That was really, really amazing, knowing that there's a lot of opportunities that youth can leverage in making sure that they're developing a business. I really like putting people on spot. And actually, I'm going to put all of you on spot at the end of this discussion. Brother Moses, please keep this with you, so that when you're coming to close, you'll need to answer me this question. What can we do to leverage on the funding opportunities to foster youth participation on AfCFTA? They keep on telling us there's funds, there's loans, there's whatever, but we all know that youth are afraid of taking loans. That's the truth. And the true fact is because we are afraid of paying them. We are not ready to be committed so that we can be able to pay the loans. That's the truth, you see? And the other side of the story, banks and all these companies, they're doing all these CSR. There's a lot of CSR that you guys are doing, which is they're really awesome because you're supporting us. But we want to change a little bit of the ways that we're doing that. We have to start thinking, how can I put my money, instead of just people meeting and eat and have fun, but develop a business that tomorrow will help other people? So this is a spot for you as Ania. Can't you start thinking of, okay, we're giving youth loans, and not many of them are taking those loans. Why can't we start creating a project that will be in the CSR, instead of bringing a lot of people to eat and then have a celebration over something, but bring youth, give them challenges, let them develop, take a share out of it. You hear me? So I think this way at least it could boost a lot of young people to start participating, but also it could be an opportunity. If youth want to go across the border, for those that are already existing, create some kind of, I don't know, loans or something that it can leverage them. If you make it across the border, maybe you get something. If you don't make it across the border, at least we know you have tried, and then we have seen what is the challenge. So as I'm putting you on spot over the message take to the leaders, because I know you're not a decision maker, Brother Moses, I have already shared with you, of which I'll come back to you and then we'll see. Now coming to my sister, Aminata, you have been spending a lot of time in the conferences and all that. The challenge that most of us young people are facing is that everywhere we go, we talk about, we are not involved in policies. We don't know what policies are talking about. Sometimes we blame things that we don't even know the policy exists. So my question to you is, how do you think youth should be involved? Or what is your opinion towards these policies and how youth are involved?
Thank you, Faraji. As introduced, I'm Aminata Toure, the Managing Director for Eserian Enterprises. We empower people to share their stories because we believe through stories, people are inspired, people are empowered, and people are educated. We are also a hub for business tourism in Tanzania and South Sudan, in the sense that we organize for business events, and in case someone wants to start up a business in either Tanzania or South Sudan, we can direct you on a few things that you can consider while starting. I also pia nawakilisha vijana wa mkoa wa Arusha katika baraza la UWT mkoa wa Arusha. So back to the question, yes, it is an issue that young people are not involved in policy making and all that. This because even in this conference today, how many young people have we invited? What's the relevancy of the groups that we've invited here?
The answer will be, we don't have funds, but they've been invited.
I'm also a young person. I attended this conference and I was not funded in any way. So the issue goes back to communication. How do we share out the communication? The previous panelists have insisted so much on partnerships. We cannot do things on our own. As much as we want to achieve our own goals, we've got to partner with other institutions doing similar things, and together we can come up to that goal that we all aspire to get to. I have seen several banks here that have sponsored this event, but how many of them have shared this conference to their clients who are young people in business? We have groups of young people that are being funded by government to support their businesses. Kuna makundi mbalimbali ambao ni wanufaika wakubwa wa ile 10% ya mikopo ya riba nafuu inayotolewa na serikali. Je, wamefikiwa ama wamealikwa katika mkutano huu kuja kujifunza? I think we can address this through relevancy in the people that we invite to such sessions. And I challenge the organizers as well as the sponsors to think around the young people around them, their clients, the vendors, and share such information with them.
Challenge accepted. Challenge has been accepted. I think that's actually we have to give her a round of applause, because that's really true. A lot of people are taking loans and all that. Ile mikopo ya 10%. Lakini I'm 100% sure, maybe 50%, if we go outside and ask the participants, very few of them that are participating there have taken those opportunities. Kwa hiyo nadhani ni something that my sister has talked about it very properly, and I think it's our role to make sure that we're involving even those small businesses, to make sure that they're participating in such kind of events. So I've been told that I have very few minutes. Nilikuwa nataka nitoe nafasi ya kutoa comments au maswali. When we have youth panels, usually I prefer to have comments and not questions, or at least to give way forwards. And my MC, am I allowed to give even a single, 3 people? Okay, thank you very much. So the method that I usually use for youth is that most of youth have a lot of questions, a lot. Like we always have questions for everything that you raise. So the strategy that I usually use is that I prefer to have either a comment, a contribution, or a suggestion. So if we have any comment, contribution, or suggestion to youth that will build us and develop us, please feel free to share with us. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. It seems we are becoming fewer and fewer in the room, but those who are still remaining, may I take this opportunity to congratulate you. You know why you are here. You have come a long way. We came here to learn and to share experience, and not just to beep and not making a call. Here we are going to stay and listen. Well, first of all, I'd like to make a clarification about the 10% loans given to women, youth, and the disabled. No interest charge on them. They are free of charge. So you just borrow. If it is 10 million, then you'll give back or pay back 10 million, no interest, but we request all of those who are taking these loans to give back or to repay, because it's a revolving fund. Once you repay, then others are going to benefit. So they're interest-free. And youth are really benefiting, youth, both gender, male and female, and especially female youth, because they can get it with their age, young people, and if you're a female, you can get it as a female. Another thing I want to say, or maybe raise a voice on it, is from, I came when he had already introduced himself, and he made a statement which really made my body shrink. Oh, I got those goose pimples immediately, Jack, because he said, women have been given a lot of attention. They've achieved so much. We, women, being given by whom? You know where you are better half. You know that if not us, no men, no women either. I request him, maybe we deserve an apology from you. Where do you want us to remain? Just behind. But during all those civil wars and what, we were fighting together. And male as they are, male chauvinists, once they are there, we are just left behind. May I tell you in this room that not very late, but we are on our way. And that song is now coming. Around the corner, women are 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 coming. I don't know where he said he's from Rwanda or where.
Let me clarify.
No, before
Uganda.
Before your mama sits down.
Uganda.
Uganda.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So you are head. Oh, okay, I understand. The vice president or the minister is the wife of the president, yeah? Mm-hmm. So that is the privilege. May I tell you, in Tanzania, the president, Her Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, is a woman, and yet we think she's just there alone, but we want many of us to be there. No book has been written that this word is for men. This word is for all of us, men and women. And that's why a man without a wife is not complete. But we are very loyal. We want you men to remain head of the house, head of everything, but we women will remain as a neck, and we are going to twist you to the direction we want. Having said that, may I congratulate all the speakers and say we have really learned a lot from you. I just wanted to wake them up, but really with a very strong intention to tell you that we should go at par. Just like on the wedding day, when we walk like this, we want it to be too like this. To be together, we can do it. Thank you so much. Message sent and delivered.
Thank you very much. Brother Moses will get back to you. I'll give you time to clarify that, but because it was part of comments and Mama gave her comments. So I think Mama, on one of the clarification is that you talked about the 10%, that people should bring it back. And that was the main problem, that most of people are not paying back the 10%, and that affects for other youth to get that opportunity. Do I have another hand? Okay, we have. But Mama, have you realized that in this building, it's almost 80% of women? So maybe we should try to do something around giving these guys opportunity as well.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Sia. My suggestion goes to East African Business Council. It's there, but I'm not sure as they have managed to partner member states to have business from one country to another, to collaborate each other and do a business. And if the market information is really available, where everyone can access them, or they are justly available in some hubs, business hubs, maybe if I'm a member of TWCC, I get there some information through this chat, or I can enter just East African business, and Kenya there is such opportunity, or Rwanda there is such opportunity. If we are going to CFTA, I think this information needs to be really available. And we as youth, and if East African business should also help us to collaborate from one country to another in order to benefit from this collaboration.
Thank you very much. As we give our comments, I'm again putting youth on the spot. Did we really try to look into these opportunities that we're asking? This is a question of reflection to ourselves. So let's put that in mind as we give our comments as well.
Okay, good evening. My name is Nangidare Lenga Eliza, and I'm the founder of Ewangan Maasai Foundation. Ewangan is a non-governmental organization which impacts the life of young Maasai women who have dropped out of the school due to child marriage and forced marriage through tourism industry. What we are doing is we are doing culture tourism. We are connecting these young women with tourists. And my suggestions today is there are a lot of women here in Tanzania, specifically Arusha and Longido, who have potential. But when we mention them, we say disadvantaged, marginalized, but we didn't go deep to look at their potential and use their potential to empowering them. So I need to call for wherever is here, the organizers, that they have to come to the ground to look at the women at the ground, women at their differences, to see what they can help them. And they have the platform already. They can use NGOs like the one that I have and other NGOs that support women. These women, for example, that I'm dealing with, they have the potential. They make these beads that I'm wearing here, but they don't have the knowledge to do finishing. So when they come to this East Africa market, they cannot take their products across Africa because they don't have that good finishing. So they need training, they need to be empowered so they can use their potential to benefit from this East Africa market. Ewangan is located in Longido, across the border. So this opportunity will be very benefiting to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. This is really amazing comment. I'll give one last comment, and then I'll get back to closing, and then we can go on to finalizing the event. I've been giving a lot of ladies. I think we give one last chance to a guy. But also I want to say one thing before he give a comment. I think usually when we do youth-related sessions, we prefer to have a conclusion that brings an action at the end. So I would like to really come up with an action at the end of this session, whereby some of us who agree to come and work together will work towards a certain initiative. So at the end of closing, I'll suggest something, and for those who will be interested, we can meet and then be able to see how we can implement it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Okay. My name is Derek Joseph Ambrose. I'm a young entrepreneur, environment activist, and the founder of the Great African Foundation. And I'm also a student at Tumaini Makumira, taking business administration. First, I would like to appreciate the organizers of this good event, but I have one comment that goes to the side of youth. I think we have a lot of youth around Tanzania and East Africa who need a lot of trainings and who need to share out their ideas on the improvement of intercontinental trade issues. So I have a suggestion that we should look forward to prepare like a platform or a summit whereby we are going to gather those marginalized group or those youth who are dealing with business issues, but they don't get opportunity to attend issues like this, to address their problems and their ideas on how we can improve the business issues. And we all know that youth can build the economic system of a country or a continent. So we should look forward on how we can gather those people who are in that the direct sector of business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that is a very good input. Now we have two inputs that we have to put in mind. Let's see what we're going to get at the end. My dear panelists, we literally have 1 minute each to close. I don't know how Brother Moses will manage to do it within 1 minute, but I'll give him 1.5. Let's start with you.
Thank you, moderator, for moderating this session and the comments and the recommendation. Let me clarify something from my mama. I think she's seeing me. Yes, I am Moses Kanyesije from East Africa, originally from Uganda. That's the spirit of integration. My work, I coordinate SMEs, youth and women. I made a comment about the protocol on women and youth. We are among the people who championed the protocol, saying we need a protocol on youth and women. But also we said the problems of women are different from youth. We should be having different protocols for women alone and youth alone. And we say that at least women have been given opportunities, organizations like UN Women, many programs that target women, and youth have been neglected. That's my context. I think when you're entering, you might have had it wrongly, but I really I advocate for women's rights. So I wasn't saying that on a wrong side. I think now I have clarified. As I conclude, someone talked about how to organize businesses to businesses. I think she's my sister from the other side. Good news is that from 21st to 24th of this month, the West Africa business entrepreneurs and youth are meeting East Africans. And that one will be in Kenya, Nairobi. So these are the people who would say, in Nigeria we need this, which is in East Africa. In Ghana we lack this, which is in Uganda. So from here I would share information. I think also someone asked about that information, about businesses, which is in our website. I will give you. Lastly, moderator asked me about how to access funds on CFTA. Let me first say this in 20 seconds. The problem is not funds. Not everyone has a problem of funds. Yesterday, I had a young business lady in my office saying she has no problem with money, but the problem is how can she move avocado from Arusha to Akura. That's a problem is not money. The money is information. So that's what we are trying to say. Let's first address the gap of information. 2, if you want to trade under CFTA, I have one question for you. Do you know your chief negotiator for Tanzania? I think from now another action we are going to do in this meeting is to say that these are the chief negotiators. If you want to trade, look for this and which ministry. As I conclude, I was asked this question when we were in a workshop. Are you bankable as an entrepreneur? If you enter Tanzania bank, are you trusted? If someone is seeing you, are you representable? If they give you money, will you use it or you will run away? Then I know we have few minutes. There is a code, 3 words that Singapore used to reach where it was. Allow me to say, those of you who were alive in the 60s, I don't know, there are few of us who were there in the 1960s. Most of you were not born. But I know in 1960s, Singapore used to come to East Africa, specifically 3 countries, Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya, to run on good policies. But Singapore is more developed than these countries. When he was asked, what did you do? He talked on, everyone asked like 100 people. Then he concluded with 3 words, MPH. That Singapore decided to take the best people, merit. Whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, whether you are disabled, but you merit. 2, they took the best policies. Whether a policy came from opposition or came from a ruling party, they had to take that policy and implement it. Lastly, he said we took the last word, which is very difficult. Honesty. That even if you're a minister, you're a son of a president, you're a relative of a commissioner, but you make a mistake, you are corrupt, you deal with the law, or the law deals with you. So, are we honest? Are we taking the most qualified, and we take the best policies? Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you very much. That was really amazing. You made me think on the previous comment about UN women. People are making jokes on the previous conference that we need UN men too. So I don't know if it's something that we have to ask for or we have to just keep on going with UN women only. So in 1 literally minute, I'll need to cut you if you go further than that. I had to give Brother Moses to clarify on the situation. So I'll go next to Ms. Ola. You have literally 1 minute to give us your take home.
So I'm not going to bring anything new. I'm just going to agree with what he said with a story. In 2017, I gave $10,000 each to 4 businesses, and none of those 4 businesses has done anything worthwhile with their business. In 2018, I gave $15,000 to 2 businesses. Out of those 2 businesses, only 1 has succeeded, which is the Greenage I told you the story about. Greenage eventually raised an extra $450,000 from All On. You can check the story online. It buttresses the fact that money is not the problem for a lot of businesses. As a business person, you need character, you need integrity, you need the willingness to put in the grind, because entrepreneurship is hard. Running a startup is not a walk in the park. So you need to keep doing it. If there are things you don't know, that's fine, but go and look for them and find out, because information is power. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad that you ran. At the end of this discussion, Ms. Ola, you share with us your handles, because people are interested to follow you and then to get more information about you. Thank you. Welcome, brother.
Thank you so much. Now, back to the opportunity, I would like to encouraging you to do not stop on encouraging yourself, but also to not stop on learning. To us at ICASE Africa, we provide many opportunities in our organization. You can access our website, www.icaseafrica.co.tz. where we provide opportunities for training opportunities. We also provide international conferences, engaging entrepreneurs across the globe, as we'll be having a global young CEOs convention meeting, which we expect to be held on July this year at Arusha International Conference Center. We also provide seed capital grants for young entrepreneurs from 500 USD to 5,000 USD. Now you can be able to access our website. So let us link together, let us join hands together on pushing AU 2063 agenda, but also on pushing Africa We Want agenda and pushing East Africa agendas and make Africa that, yes, it is true Africa, the beautiful Africa that we want to see in future from now to 20, 50 years to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, brother. Banks talk money. So let's see how we can use that 1 minute.
Actually, I don't have much to say. I would love to take this lovely opportunity to invite you all to Tanzania Bank. Jamani, karibuni sana. Ni benki pekee ambayo milango yake iko wazi mpaka saa 2 usiku. We normally say it's 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So, karibu sana Tanzania Bank. Tuko kukuhudumia, lakini zaidi sana kuyafikia mahitaji yako na kufanya zaidi ya matarajio yako. Kwa hiyo karibuni sana Tanzania Bank. Tuko around about ya Florida. Jengo la NCCF ground floor. Lakini pia another branch iko Clock Tower opposite na Airtel, jirani na kanisa la Mjini Kati pale. You can also find us there. So karibuni sana Tanzania Bank, tuzungumze, karibuni sana tukuhudumie. Asante sana.
Kaka Tanzania, mimi umeniacha. Hizo location ulizotoa sijajua kama ni za Arusha, za Dar es Salaam au za mkoa mwingine. Shukrani sana.
Arusha. Kwa Arusha. Asante sana.
Shukrani sana. Karibu dada Aminata.
Asante. Mine is just an encouragement to the young people in the room here. There's a lot of opportunities with AfCFTA. Moses has shared a lot of things that they are doing to empower young people. I would like to encourage you to keep being hungry for information, because information is power. And as you do that, remember to share your story, because we've got each other. You never know whom you'd inspire or educate by your own story. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The problem is that I don't know when Aminata is finishing. You will think she's just giving you an extra input and then she just finished. So that was really amazing. Thank you very much, my amazing panel. This has been one of the best and amazing panels I've had. And the conversation from the participants as well, that was really awesome. As I ask Ms. Ola to share her handles, the ones that she allows to be shared, as you take a mic and use it within 30 seconds to do that, I would also allow you, my panelists, to be able to leave our flow while I take over to the closing. Welcome, Ms. Ola.
Okay. My name is not very easy to spell, so I'm just going to spell it out. My LinkedIn account. Okay, so what do we prefer? Do we like Instagram or LinkedIn? What do we prefer?
Do both.
Both. Okay, so my Instagram is O.EKUMA. Do I take that again? Do you want to project it? Is there someone that can project it? So O.EKUMA. O.EKUMA. So if you send me a direct message, I will respond to you. Just send a DM. My DM is open. My account is not private. Send me a DM. I'll respond to you. As many of you as want to go into incubation and acceleration, it's not limited to Nigeria. So I'm happy to have a conversation with as many people as are interested. Then for my LinkedIn is very long. So let's do Instagram. It's really long. So O.EKUMA, once you send me a message on Instagram, I will respond to you. Is that okay? Thank you.
tupige makofi mengi sana. Naomba tupige makofi kwa panelist wetu, lakini zaidi pia kwa moderator Faraji. Naomba makofi mengi sana kwake. Please, naomba tumpigie makofi Faraji. Na vigelegele. Safi sana. I know it's been a long day. Hasa mimi nimeangalia saa sikujua kwamba imezidi muda ambao nilikuwa nategemea tutoke, lakini nimepewa tu taarifa kwamba something else came up na kilihitaji attention, na ninaheshimu michango yenu. Tuko hapa ili tuweze kuhakikisha kwamba hivi vitu vyote ambavyo viko vinatuhinda to reach optimal na beyond tunaviaddress, na kwa sababu tuna wataalamu hapa, tuna wabobezi, tutumie nafasi hiyo. Tumefika tamati ya siku ya kwanza. Naomba tujipigie makofi wote. Unajua CEO, ukifika tamati alafu kumbi bado umejaa, alafu wajumbe bado wana nguvu, ni kitu cha kujipongeza sana. Si ndio mheshimiwa? Kwa kweli. Naomba mheshimiwa labda nimalizie tu matangazo yetu mawili mafupi sana. Tangazo la kwanza, naomba kesho tuanze saa 3 kamili on dot. Tunaanza na recap ya siku ya leo ambayo Faraji alikuwa ifanye hapa, lakini nikiangalia sura zetu sidhani kama tuna muda mwingine mwingi wa kufanya recap. Kwa nimemwomba Faraji kesho atatuongoza kwenye recap. Kwa hiyo naomba saa 3 kamili tuwe tumefika ready for the day. Tangazo la pili, kuna exhibition hapa inaendelea hapa nyuma. Okay? Tour support. Kina mama na vijana ambao wamekuja kufanya biashara zao. These are all made from